in power, I'm hoping that he's not going to make the same mistake in Iran. And we know that he's busy in Gaza. He's just made, well, let me just read this to our listeners. President Trump announced that a board of peace has been created to be chaired by him and made up of roughly 15 world leaders. He posted this on the social media, and apparently this board will oversee a Palestinian technocratic government and manage Gaza's reconstruction. But he's the head of this board. He has interests because he wants to build his hotels there and make Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. That's what he thinks he's going to be able to do with all of these other countries involved. I think it's going to be a complete failure. But in any case, we won't go there now. He's also busy in Greenland, which we're going to talk about as well. And he's busy in Venezuela. So he's pretty spread out. So what do you think now about Gaza? Let's go to Gaza.
Okay. Listen very well, guys. Get a pencil, write it down. B, if you love your country, if you care for Israel, if you care for people, if you don't want bloodshed anywhere, be very careful with what I'm about to tell you. One, be very, very skeptical about so-called experts and journalists who are beating the drum of, Hamas still in power. I've heard a lot of them, especially so-called Arab-speaking journalists, including one particular guy who labels himself as an Arab-Israeli expert, Arab-Israeli journalist. He was on some American Jewish network, like I think a month ago, and he was talking about, quote unquote, a spit in the face of Trump because of Hamas staying in power. This is not true. I authoritatively can tell you, Hamas has lost up to 90% of its presence. One, Hamas leaders, a huge number of them have gone outside, which was the agreement, and the Americans' offer was, we're going to help you. You want to leave? We'll send you to either Turkey, to Singapore, or to South America, South Africa. Very few of them went to South Africa anyways. Or number four, a Western country which I'm not going to disclose. It's a Western country. It's not in Europe. So it's a continent far away. It could be in America, North America. It could be in Australia, New Zealand. I'm not going to say which one because I didn't have a clearance to say which one, but they've sent a good number of them there. Two, Hamas has lost control of most of its area. Hamas has pockets of resistance. Those pockets of resistance are usually the areas where they used to live. People must understand there was at least 100. Hamas was the government. So in addition to the so-called soldiers or terrorists, Hamas had, people running the health department, the education department, a government apparatus, a regime. So there was a good at least 100,000, 120,000 Hamas people, like fully Hamas, not just getting a job in a place where Hamas is in control. And those people had families. So we're talking 500 to 600,000 Hamas. At least, on a bad day, 30,000 Hamas fighters got killed, if not much more. And so you're talking 600,000 people. 600,000 people in Gaza are officially Hamas family members and Hamas members. They control certain areas because they were the wealthy ones. They live in certain areas like Ar-Rimal in Gaza. Ar-Rimal is called the Sands. It used to be an upscale neighborhood, like in the upscale of standards of Caesarea or Tel Aviv.
Broadway and Park Place.
Yeah. You won't believe the homes in there. You won't believe them. You won't believe what you see. You wouldn't believe it's in Gaza. To Beit Lahia, the north, Hamas cannot send the truck into southern Gaza. They need to look around whenever they walk or drive a truck into central Gaza because they're afraid of both Israeli hits and the people, because the people hate Hamas with a passion. They hate them because of many things. One of them was what they did through the war. Through the war, Hamas was ruthless, and we're not going to get into that. How they forced people not to get out of their homes despite Israeli warnings. How they stole the food aid and sold it. how they shot people just because they came close to the food drops from the sky. So people hate them with a passion. Hamas is not in control of Gaza. Hamas is not in the government of Gaza. The pockets of resistance for Hamas, they are very controlled when they get out of certain areas because there is the liaison apparatus between Hamas and Israel. They give them certain areas where you have to be this and there. They cross, they call it the yellow line. They cross the red line, and in most cases, they receive an Israeli bomb. They are so afraid to the point where they cannot move freely. Hamas is contained. Is it there? Yes, it's still there, like a virus or it's cancer, still there. It's very dangerous. It has to be getting removed out. How's it going to be removed out? You need to understand that most of the people in the region, most apparatus, the European Union, the Arab countries involved, particularly Jordan and Egypt, they're all against stopping the war. They wanted the war to continue. President Trump, not Trump, King Abdullah of Jordan, made two BBC interviews where he wanted the war to stop, not to stop. Because the more there's war, the better for them and for their regimes. So they are against this, and this is why Trump is moving slowly. The concept is he will get a local force, not Gazan force, a force from different countries. The main task will be fighting Hamas remnants if they have to. The Americans do want to do it with their own hands. The Israelis do want to send the soldiers anymore walking down Gazan alleys. So he's getting those, and he's got some clowns, bad actors in the middle, as long as they provide money. I do not see how he's going to be trusting the Turks to send their soldiers. Indonesia is offering up to 20,000 soldiers. There will be, and please, and remember, guys, the U.S. Department of Defense, the Defense Intelligence Agency, they are all over Gaza. They control who comes in, who gets out. They are not playing. Why is Trump so interested in Gaza? People are saying, oh, he wants to build more casinos and he wants to build more buildings, all for his own benefit. I hate to say this is so silly and so untrue. Trump is interested in Gaza because he's re-establishing the American presence right now after the kidnap of Maduro, which is not a kidnap, it's an arrest of a narco terrorist who's actually an actual terrorist colluding with Iran. So after Maduro was arrested, America has, for the first time in 100 years, declared itself an empire. Only an empire behaves like that with impunity.
All right, so let's go to Greenland then.
Just let me finish, please.
Okay.
This is why he needs to set up the empire where it's going to have Pax Americana. Pax Americana, always empires, regardless how ruthless. When they are in control, there's peace. So this starts, and I know we don't have much time, Gaza. Gaza sits in the most dangerous spot in the world. Israel as a country has the worst location in history, in the world. Look at the map. No one has a worse location. I'm not sure why God chose that land for the Jews. I'm sure he has his reasons.
He does.
But Hashem chose you the worst location in history.
In your opinion. Okay.
Indeed, it's awful. Look, you are surrounded between you are exactly the spot connecting three continents together. You are the spot, it's the center of the world, and at the center of that spot, the nail that's holding the map is Gaza. Something in the military called the point of gravity. Point of gravity means that if you control a certain area, you control everywhere else. And if that place is not safe or not calm, everywhere else is not calm. I'll be very quick. The point of gravity of North America is in England, United Kingdom. If the United Kingdom, say, falls, God forbids, into a civil war or faces a nuclear disaster, God forbids, North America would fall. The same goes for the world. The world point of gravity is the Middle East. The point of gravity of the Middle East is the Levant. The point of gravity of the Levant is Jordan/Israel, that block, what used to be British mandates for Palestine. And the point of gravity of that exact spot is Gaza, believe it or not. This is what President Trump's military and intelligence advisors know. And rest assured, they're going to take Gaza, even if they have to use force eventually, which they, to me, I think they're going to end up using it with Hamas sooner or later. Greenland.
Yeah, but just before you talk about Greenland now, I just want to say if the regime